right, here's what we're gonna do. Heads we go north, tails we go south. That coin flip launched a camping trip that changed my life. We had all of the camping gear packed up in the car. We had the entire long weekend free. What we didn't have was a plan. It was a little unusual for us. We were both media producers, so we were used to keeping a schedule down to the second. But there we were, all packed up, nowhere to go. So we flipped a coin. And that freed us up. We could do anything. We followed curiosity. We stayed present. There was no, are we there yet? Because we didn't know where we were going. It led us on a journey, an adventure we couldn't have planned. It was a lot of fun. And much to our surprise, it was romantic. So long, friend zone. That was 25 years ago, and my husband and I are still going strong. Now, it's a fun first date story, but it turns out there was some serious neuroscience at play. You see, when you do something novel or unexpected, dopamine spikes, floods you with feelings like desire and pleasure. It creates opportunity for memories and connection. But the neural cocktail, the party's not over, because then the amygdala and the hippocampus kick in, shifting perception, lowering inhibition, and sparking exploration. Now, if that happens to lead to closer proximity, then oxytocin joins the party, deepening bonds and creating emotional safety. All the things you need to get out of the friend zone. So this was our story. And after that first brush with spontaneity, I started to wonder, could we trigger this neurochemical cocktail? We decided to test it out. We flipped more coins, we rolled the dice, we threw a dart at a map, walked out the door without a plan, and just followed inspiration. And they all worked. And I started to notice something else beyond the fun dates. I felt more alive, more in tune, more connected. Decisions came easier. Creativity was flowing. Confidence showed up. And that's when I realized this wasn't just some quirky activity. It was a worthwhile practice, a way to stay connected to myself and the world around me. And today, I want to inspire you to practice intentional spontaneity. It's easy, and you do not have to be naturally spontaneous for it to work. Because I see some of you thinking, I am not the spontaneous type. I need a plan, I need structure, I need to know what's going to happen. And I get it, me too. I'm actually a planner. I live by my calendar. I create strategies and workflows for a living. So that's why this is a practice, an intentional practice, not a risky, reflexive, consequences be damned approach to life. No, we're not talking about going out and getting full back tattoos without ever seeing the design first, or quitting your job on a whim. No, this really is about it being a practice. It's about being open to whatever can happen. It's all about putting yourself in a position to create space for the unexpected, to build your capacity for improv in small doses. It's all about being more connected, turning off autopilot, inviting randomness in, and letting curiosity drive, just for a few minutes to see where it leads. So you might take a different route home tonight, or try a new coffee shop tomorrow. You could talk to a friendly stranger, or let the waiter pick your meal the next time you dine out. Practicing intentional spontaneity does not have to be epic in order to help you connect better. And we need this now more than ever. It wasn't that long ago that the world shut down and we had to limit our connections. We turned to digital connection, and even though they didn't quite measure up, we kind of stuck with it. And now we're feeling a little bit more disconnected and finding connection even harder. Maybe you're noticing this. For example, have you ever been having a conversation and suddenly realize you're zoning out because your attention is on your phone? You can admit it. It's a pretty common problem these days. So let's talk about those phones. Let's talk about some of the tools that we have that we use every day that can impact our ability to connect. Search engines, valuable tool. But have you ever wondered if it is dulling our capacity for wonder, our ability to be curious or figure things out on our own? AI, another tool many of us are using every day. I know I am. But I do wonder, because AI is really confident and insistent that it's found you the right answer, that we might be running the risk of outsourcing our opinions and our decisions. Speaking of which, the algorithms. Social media, streaming, they're designed to tell you what you want before you have a chance to figure it out for yourself. So we are struggling to connect, even as we're using these tools that are supposed to help us connect. We are in a position now where we have all of these amazing tools, but we're feeling so disconnected. And you have to ask yourself, where is all of this going? Can you shrug it off? This is just modern life? Well, there's reason for concern. The World Health Organization identifies loneliness and isolation as a growing health concern because it increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, anxiety, depression, and premature death. And the US Surgeon General likens chronic disconnection to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Think about that. We are not just dealing with disconnection. We're not just dealing with our modern life. We are potentially endangering our lives with disconnection. Okay, here's some hopeful stuff, okay? It's not that hard to reconnect because we're biologically wired for connection, and it can be as easy as making eye contact. A 2023 study published in Scientific Reports found that when we make mutual eye contact, even with a stranger, that moment of connection, it triggers the part of our brain that's linked to empathy and belonging. But we miss these micro connections all the time because we're caught up in our routines and we're buried in our phones. This is what makes practicing intentional spontaneity so powerful, because it breaks you out of that routine and reconnects you with the world around you, because it takes you out of your bubble and puts you back in your community. I want to share a story. My husband and I like to go for neighborhood walks almost daily, and we walk by this house, and there was this dog that would always jump up on the fence to say hello, a beautiful boxer. And so we loved walking by and saying hello to that boxer. Now, we were in another part of the neighborhood, and we thought we spotted that same boxer. So we followed our curiosity, inquired, and sure enough, it was the same boxer. Now, we got to chatting with the owner of the boxer and found out that he had some mobility issues, which meant that he couldn't walk Brooke, the boxer, as much as he would like. From that day forward, and for about 4 years, we walked Brooke every Sunday. And while we were walking Brooke, we got to meet every neighbor that Brooke knew. Brooke knew all the neighbors. So we weren't just living in a community anymore. We were part of it. All because we followed our curiosity and we had trained ourselves to be open to people and possibilities. Being open to possibilities is one of the best benefits of practicing intentional spontaneity. because you never know when an opportunity for an amazing experience is going to pop up. Let me share one more story with you. We had just landed on the Caribbean island of Bonaire, and we were looking for dinner options. So we were going from restaurant to restaurant, checking out the menus. And we noticed there was another couple kind of doing the same thing, sort of leapfrogging us down the strip. Well, we walk into the very last restaurant on the strip, just ahead of them, and we got the last table. This is when our training kicked in, and we did something we've never done before. We invited them to join us. She was an ER doctor from Philadelphia, and he was a bon vivant. No other way to explain it. They had the most amazing stories. The conversation was riveting, and they even picked up the tab. Now, out of all the meals that we had during that trip, it's the only one that I can remember. Not because of the food or because it was free, but because it was connected. It was memorable. It was spontaneous. So by now, I hope that you are starting to see the power of practicing intentional spontaneity. Want to give it a try? You ready? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll this die, right? And if it comes up odd, any odd number, then just introduce yourself to someone at the break. If it comes up evens, take a different route home tonight. You ready? Yes. Who's with me? Hands up. You're into it? Okay, let's go. Let's see if this thing bounces right off the stage. Here we go. It's a 2. Okay, you know what to do. And congratulations. You are practicing intentional spontaneity. And who knows? Maybe this small moment will lead to an experience you remember for years, like a dinner in Bonaire, Sunday walks with a boxer named Brooke, a camping trip that flipped friendship into forever. Some of the best experiences, they don't start with a plan. They start with spontaneity. So flip a coin, roll the dice, say yes, surprise yourself, because this is how we begin to reconnect with ourselves, with each other, and with the communities that we call home. Thank you.